You know what pisses everybody off? Seeing NBA stars who were supposed to dominate the league, guys hyped as future potential MVPs, all NBA caliber, the players of the next decade, high lottery picks, balled out, having all the talent in the world, supposed to be the next big thing, but completely fell off a cliff once they got a bit of success, all-star treatment, then all of a sudden stopped improving, not because of a major injury, but they got comfortable, the league passed them by. No, I'm not talking about busts like Jahlil Okafor, Anthony Bennett, or James Wiseman. None of those guys were going to be good NBA players to begin with, even if drafted to a better situation. These players I'm about to mention had all the hype, some of them won early awards, even became labeled as future superstars in the league and potential face of basketball. Some of their highlights will forever be one of the greatest plays the game has ever seen. But when they were supposed to take the next step, leading their franchises, expectations got too high. What happened? They got soft mentally and physically. The NBA waits for absolutely nobody. Perennial all-stars who plateaued, coasted, exposed, their weaknesses too glaring, from face of their franchise to just sad cautionary tales. Starting with Michael Beasley, the king of one-on-ones, the only non-all-star who could realistically beat elite scorers like a KD in a 1v1 contest. The number 2 pick, one and done, out of Kansas State, averaged 26 and 12 in college, complete 3-level scorer, silky smooth finishes, great body control, can pretty much beat the average Joe in a pickup game, being blindfolded if he chose to. At 6'8", capable of playing the 3 and 4, coming to the draft, the ultra-talented walking bucket already developed a bad rap for being lazy, forced to be dragged out of bed by his agent for an early morning workout, while the less popular Russell Westbrook never needed an alarm. 19-year-old Beasley, drafted by Miami, made poor life decisions, hung out with the wrong people around him. His entourage back home all follow suit, being too loyal to many people in a big circle. Miami had enough of him after 2 seasons, had to trade him, making room for LeBron and Bosh, dealt to Minnesota for just 2 second-round picks, had his best season year 3, averaged 19.2 points, a career-high 42-piece, followed by 35 in back-to-back nights.
I don't know, just a suggestion, but I would go out and guard him right now. What about you?
Celtics coach Doc Rivers called Beasley mellow-like, somebody who could lead the league in scoring, but way too undisciplined off the court, smoked too much weed. The shortened lockout season didn't help. His 4th year fell to 11.5 point average, became a journeyman. Every franchise he went to got in trouble with the law, never took his job seriously. His mindset never matured in the league. Perfect example of a star caliber talent who proved to the world talent's not enough to become great in the NBA. If there's ever a lazy basketball Hall of Fame, Michael Beasley be the first names many mention. Roy Hibbert, from all-star to borderline unplayable in a span of a couple weeks, was supposed to be one of the best bigs of the 2010s. The king of the verticality rule got the benefit of the doubt on questionable fouls.
Hibbert's allowed to go up in that restricted area if he's straight up. I would say this is a foul on Hibbert, but it's not called.
Led his team to the best ranked defense 2013, then 27 years old, destroyed Tyson Chandler in the Knicks series, blocked Melo's key dunk in the pivotal Game 6 closeout. Miami's lack of centers had no answers for the 7'2" giant.
Hibbert with another rebound and score. Now to 3, Stephenson, and it's put home on the...
Steve, you've been talking about the size advantage all series.
Despite falling to the eventual 2-time champs in 7, Hibbert averaged 22 and 10 for that series. Indiana was supposed to take the next leap, possibly making the finals soon. Looked incredible to start 2014, was even favored to win Defensive Player of the Year at one point. Team got off to a 33-7 start, but given some internal drama amongst the team players, many things we'll never know about. Hibbert's production fell off a cliff, got exposed heavily round 1 by Mike Budenholzer's Hawks. Having 5 players on the court who could shoot threes, Hibbert got embarrassed by a man named Peril Antic, had 0.0 rebounds game 5, even blocked by Kyle Korver. One of the weirdest collapses after a late regular season meltdown, many didn't think it'd be possible for Hibbert to get any worse. The worst player efficiency rating in the playoffs for anyone named an All-Star the same year. A few weeks before the start of the 2014 playoffs, the NBA clarified the verticality rule, giving players blocking fouls, destroying Hibbert's greatest skill set. The game changed due to the rise of small ball. Hibbert simply became extinct overnight. With the combination of mental breakdowns, selfish, egotistical teammates, with the loss of vet Danny Granger responsible for keeping the group together, Roy Hibbert the greatest example of having all his basketball powers taken away, Space Jam Charles Barkley style. Lance Stephenson had all the talent, being a 1 to 3 time All-Star. A disciplined Lance could have turned out to become Draymond Green impactful caliber. Being a household name in high school, 6'5", can play the one, too many flaws in college, shot 22% from 3, 66 from the line on 12 points a game, couldn't fully dominate D1 easily, fell all the way to the 40th pick, but landed with the right team and perfect mentor Larry Bird, one of the few GMs who saw his talents. Despite the showboating, Larry Legend put Lance in every position to succeed, resulted in a borderline All-Star caliber 2014 season, led the league in triple doubles. The 23-year-old flourished with the ball in his hands, but the antics couldn't stop Bron in Miami from reaching 4 straight finals. Lance stupidly rejected Indy's extension, elected to take a smaller deal with Charlotte, ineffective playing off ball. That's why he couldn't work out anywhere else. Cared more about being a showsman than actual team production, thought he'd be a superstar in Charlotte when things couldn't have been any worse. The type of player who needed a solid organization around him to succeed. Had Lance elected to stay and had Bird hold him accountable, Stephenson himself could have been a 3-time All-Star, especially in the weak East. Tyreke Evans, former Rookie of the Year. Unlike Stephenson, the 4th pick in the loaded 09 draft went to a dysfunctional organization. Tyreke's best skill set, playing with the ball in his hands, became the 4th rookie, joining Oscar Robertson, Michael Jordan, and LeBron James to put up 25 and 5. Won the first year award over Steph Curry, supposed to take a leap but had the ball taken out of his hands. Forced to play the 2 and 3 position, exposed for his lack of shooting, meant to be a 6'5" physical point guard, needed to bully smaller guys, later became unmotivated, stopped trying. Sure, injuries ruined his development too, but wasting away on a losing franchise stunted his growth. Evans proved once again he could put up 25 and 5 with Memphis 2018 at 28 years old, but banned for abusing the league's anti-drunk policy. A sad downfall. Andrea Bargnani, drafted 1st overall in 2006, the Raptors gambled on something different. Somebody who was supposed to be the next Dirk Nowitzki, becoming the first European drafted number 1. The NBA still had an old school style. Raptors failed to utilize their 7-footer, forced to play him on the post when his biggest strength spacing the floor, knocking down threes as a stretch 5. The type of guy to create mismatches, but in the 2000s, the logic was every 7-footer supposed to block shots and rebound the ball, 2 things Bargnani's terrible at. By the time the league was changing during the mid-2010s, Andrea already lost motivation for the game. The perfect player for the future NBA became a victim of old school practices that failed him. Had he been the number 4th to 8 pick, perhaps his confidence wouldn't have been so diminished. Did not take criticism well as a finesse center, put up over 21 a game his 5th season, but came into the league a full decade too early. Could have been exactly what Larry Marketing is now. If Marketing came into the league in 2006, he too would have been called soft, criticized, and bullied to losing all motivation from playing NBA basketball. After playing briefly with the Knicks, Bargnani's career now remembered as a glorified meme. D'Angelo Russell, the most frustrating player from the 2015 draft. A few years ago, half the people believe he's not a fit for any team looking to contend. The other half still believing he's all-star material if he played like his 2019 self. The reality of his play style, too streaky, needs the ball in his hands, unathletic for NBA standards, lacks a sense of urgency, too many defensive mislapses. Went from potential bust, immature, Lakers gave up on him after 2 years, The 22-year-old proved to carry a mediocre Nets team to the playoffs, averaged 21 and 7 dimes, looked extremely promising on an overachieving team with no expectations. Everybody fed off from each other's energy. Jared Dudley's leadership kept the young guys in check. D'Lo just a sacrificial lamb, responsible for helping land KD and Kyrie, traded to Golden State, too redundant to play with Steph, shifted to Minnesota after. Averaged between 17 to 19 points between 2021 to 24, had nagging injuries, couldn't mesh with draftmate Cat or the younger Ant Edwards. D'Lo's only good in spurts, relies on tough shot making, too slow to blow by anyone these days, didn't fix any of his bad habits early, the league simply left him behind. Dismissed Russell, given the loaded point guard position. Had Durant and Kyrie didn't come to the Nets, D'Lo might have been a 2 to 3 time All-Stars, being in the weaker East on a mediocre Brooklyn squad. He's already made his money. Kenny Atkinson, the head coach, made Russell look better than what he is. His laziness and lack of desire to win, treating playoff games like regular season pickup ball, the biggest reasons why he's only a mid-level exception in today's NBA. If nothing changes, vet minimum coming soon. Ben Simmons had all the tools to become a franchise-changing superstar, can't miss 6'10 floor general, supposed to be Magic Johnson-esque, but the attitude at LSU should have been huge red flags. Being great at his job, born with natural abilities most can only dream. His talent alone made him Rookie of the Year, averaged 16, 7, and 7, already one of the best defenders in the game, but went several summers taking his skills for granted, never worked on his flaws. Once teams figured out he couldn't shoot a lick, the arrogance attitude, refusing to shoot the damn ball, made Simmons the biggest wasted potential. Peaking mentally and physically 2021 as he approached his mid-20s, should have developed a couple offensive moves and at least have the guts to attempt open threes. But after the mental breakdown Atlanta series, Simmons' career lasted 108 total of a possible 328 since, developed chronic back issues, rolled out the rest of his max extension, fully content never playing again at age 28, had absolutely no drive, coasting on natural talents, can only take one so far in the NBA. His back problems clearly killed any drive to want to come back. When healthy, he refused to work hard. When banged up, that's all she wrote. Brandon Ingram, another former star the league's moved past from, deserved tons of credit balling out after failing to mesh with Bron on the Lakers. His first year with New Orleans, won Most Improved, averaged 24, 6, and 4, looked like a first option on a future good team, assertive and capable being the closer, hit several game-winning shots, but fragile, became injury prone after securing a second bag. His hunger for the game went away. Despite having Kevin Durant-like intangibles, BI simply doesn't have KD's love for the game. Him and Zion both not real leaders, passive personalities. Last time he looked like a top 20 player, 2022 playoffs, became too fragile for Luke Dort, locking him up 2024 playoffs, had some DMPs for Team USA, backed up Austin Reeves, who in 2025 arguably a better NBA player than Ingram now. Given the Pelicans paid Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, and Zion, that's why they traded him 10 cents on the dollar. Not reliable enough to be a max guy, just content being a low 20-point scorer in mid-Toronto. His progression should have been a taller DeMar DeRozan, but he's not even as good as prime DeMar. Has no championship spirit. That's why guys like Jaylen Brown and Pascal Siakam from his draft class surpass Ingram as a player, not because of talent, but work ethic. BI too passive, should be a 27, 8, and 5 guy by now. Will occasionally have the monster games here and there. If he can't make the All-Star team in the East, there's no optimism in Ingram leading the Raptors anywhere. DeAndre Ayton, forever an absolute travesty of a #1 pick. The 7-footer literally stopped working out in the weight room and somehow looks smaller than when he was balling at Arizona. Drafted based on potential, Suns wanted him over Luka. Instead, treated him for a washed-up Yusuf Nurkic. His laziness, similar to Ben Simmons, was never going to be a franchise player, but a capable 24 and 12 guy, having a mid-range J, supposed to be a two-way anchor. His talent showed first 3 years, the king of coasting. When asked about defining success in the NBA, getting a second contract. was in conversation as top 3 center. Jordan Phoenix finals run, played the perfect role catching lobs from CP3 but melted under pressure against the hungrier Giannis. After things got dicey with Monty Williams, the weak-minded Ayton failed to take responsibility, stayed up playing video games all night, being sleepy for the real games, allergic to contact in the paint, bullied by small guards, quit in the 2023 Denver series, took himself out of Game 6, refused to go to work. His motor continues to fluctuate early on with the Lakers, can look like a star one night and disappear the next, has no sense of urgency. That's why Portland bought him out. Do they regret giving him up? Absolutely not. Traded twice as a number 1 pick. If the Lakers lose before round 2, he'll be a vet minimum type player, lazy as hell, and he's trying to flip the narrative. The hate fuels him, only temporarily. Always saying he's got something to prove.
Don't run back hard, like right here. There ain't no play call. Run to middle of the lane, right there.
That should have been a layup.
Seal, get in front of him. Be aggressive. Right here, Seal, stop. Get in front of him, stop. Come on, Ernie.
He's proved that all these years of laziness is why his game's not polished enough. His stat remains similar to his rookie season. Zion Williamson, his biggest enemy, staying healthy, getting hampered by injuries, all red flags, but being put in a franchise he didn't want to belong in the first place. He's basically damaged goods. Still miraculously got that max extension, yet after 5 games this season, of course he gets hurt again. Same result, different year. Typical Zion. Being more famous in high school than he is now, pathetically, Bronny James gets more coverage than Zion heading to 2026. Missing an equivalent of 3 full seasons, 3 players from the 2022 class already surpassed Zion in total games played, suffered from bad eating habits and messing with the wrong chicks, too much off the court distractions, still managed to make 2 all-star teams, peak by his 3rd full season before the injuries. His speed and athleticism already declining at 25. Even with the weight loss, the years of bad habits already damaged New Orleans and his style of play. Being only 6'6", relying on raw athleticism, once his knee goes, it's over. At least when Blake Griffin couldn't play above the rim, he's still 6'10" with a decent outside shot. Zion has none of that. Being in a toxic organization for too long, does he want to even play basketball anymore, or just content to finish out his contract, end up like Ben Simmons? His ceiling as an MVP candidate officially thrown out the window, being told constantly to get in shape, already has a losing attitude. At best, he might make one more all-star team if healthy for the first 40 games of the season, but given his history, his 25-year-old self might as well be 35. Suspended last season for being late to a flight, he should have taken care of his body from day one. Maybe all the injuries wouldn't have happened. The longer he's with New Orleans, the more we get to see the same Zion cycle repeat. Only thing saving him, going to a more competent franchise. That's if anybody wants him. Ja Morant, everything he's built with the early success being in discussion as next face of the league, having all-time athleticism, all the good stuff thrown out the window. Sadly, the now 26-year-old still has not matured, continues with the childish behavior, playing terrible on purpose. The curse of the 2019 class, officially the biggest letdown all time. After securing the bag, stopped giving a damn, saying he fine in the West, his team's been a mess. Shame on Ja for disrespecting the game. Shame on Ja for the arrogance, cares too much about being a gangster, could cost himself a Hall of Fame career. All the suspension and off-court ridiculousness add nothing to his game. Given all the recent injuries, still can't shoot. Morant should be at the age where the game slows down for him, looked upon now as a vet, being a super high jumper in a small body. His athletic peak already maxed. Style of play unsustainable long term. His mid-range game stinks, doesn't try enough on defense, has too many yes men in his ear, slowly destroying his career, relying on his gifts instead of putting in work. There's a reason why younger guards like Cade Cunningham, Tyrese Maxey, and Tyrese Halliburton all surpassed him. Ja had everything going well for him with the rebuild, Memphis was way ahead of schedule, but acted too arrogantly. Teammate Dylan Brooks got blamed the scapegoat. GM Zach Kleiman, former coach Taylor Jenkins fired. Now Ja crying about his new coach. Despite all the times people crap on Russell Westbrook, we all gotta respect Brody for the work he's put in, still going strong, balling out. If Ja keeps up with his crappy attitude, he might be out the league before the end of the decade. Sadly, becoming one of the biggest examples how social media destroying an all-time great athlete's career. His trade value at an all-time low, hard to get along with, entitled attitude, the type of guy everybody would hate on their team, took all he had for granted. If Ja doesn't brush up his attitude, he's gonna look back and regret it all. Still has time to bounce back, clock ticking, but given what we've seen, Morant will likely never become an all-star again. Future mentions could be Jalen Green, missing time in Phoenix, game hasn't slowed down for him. If he was a legit star, wouldn't have gotten traded for 37-year-old Kevin Durant. Jonathan Kuminga has the physical tools, drafted in the top-notch system, has a mixture of greatness and confusion, failing to adapt. If Steph, Dre, and Jimmy can't help him, will soon be labeled an afterthought. Could Scoot Henderson be next on this list? Will he ever be all-star caliber? I left Andrew Wiggins off the hook. He did win a championship, a phenomenal pure athlete, but his fundamental skills of the game not aligned with his athleticism. Imagine he put on 10 to 15 pounds of muscle after his second season. Simply doesn't put in the work like the other greats. Honorable mention, OJ Mayo started doing drugs similar to Tyreke Evans, stopped caring, cocky attitude from the start, led to undisciplined habits. Just like Michael Beasley, party too hard, didn't work on his game enough, got DMPs on awful teams at age 26, even broke his ankle falling down the stairs, didn't have much to show, never came close to star material. Other active young stars to worry about, RJ Barrett and Scotty Barnes, will they turn it up a notch or remain stagnant? Time will tell.